Hey guys, so today we have this, a Homelite String Trimmer. When I mentioned that I had picked up a lot of these string trimmers, there were a lot of Homelites in that string trimmer bundle. This is yet another Homelite trimmer. I think this is number 2 on the Homelite trimmer list, but I do have yet another one that still needs to be checked because I believe that one has lost spark. Anyway, that's another video. This one, however, this one has other problems. For one, the fuel cap is missing. Not a big deal. I can scavenge. 2, I really don't think a fuel cap is its only problem. This fuel tank is cracked pretty bad. Fuel lines, they're rock hard, and they don't attach to the fuel tank anymore. Looks like the carburetor needs replacing, and there's no air cover to the cleaner box. Lovely. So looks like we got a look cut out for us on fixing. First things first, let's see if it'll actually run. I'll pop the spark plug, dribble a little 2-stroke fuel in there, and we'll give it a try. We'll see if it starts, if it pops off, and if it does, then we'll proceed. If not, we'll tear into the engine, and we'll find out what's going on. All right, guys, let's crack into it. Hey, look, there's an engine in there. All right, so 3/4. We'll pop the spark plug every time. So what do we have here? It's an NGK. BPMR7A. So we have an NGK BPMR7A. And I would say it has been burning very, very rich. That is really black and sooty. I'm gonna quickly torch this off to give it the best chance. Ooh-wee! She's a stinky one. So let's see if we can give it a squirt. Hopefully there's a little bit of fuel left in here. Nope, none left. There we go. That should be just enough to start her up. Put the spark plug back in. There we go. That's on. Right, so I'll just give it a pull over. Let's see if she'll start. I think so. Yeah, it runs. Sort of. Maybe we'll add a little bit more. See if we'll get her to actually kick over. So we know it's got spark and enough compression to ignite the fuel. There, that's the last of it. I'm going to have to mix some more 2-stroke up. Hopefully I can get this one running because I do have this Homelite that I just can't get running. So I do have parts for this one should I need them. But hopefully we can get this one running. So spark plug wire on, got a little bit of fuel still in there. Let's see. Yeah, I think it'll run. I think this one will run. Yeah, she'll definitely run. So, you know what? Let's see if we can get at least this set up. I'll have a jar set up with some 2-stroke. I'll feed some fuel lines to it. We'll get the carb cleaned out. This way we can at least see if it'll run. If this thing runs, then maybe we'll do a couple swaps. We'll take the other housing, which is nice and red. It's really nice looking, and swap all the swap all the external parts. So this looks like a newer trimmer. And if it runs, well, it's doing one thing more than the other one is doing. Hopefully this one we can get to go. Right, so let's start pulling this one apart. So we have 4 Torx 25 in the front. Machine thread, so they're going into metal. Turn the vise so you can get a better view of this side. This one's at the throttle cable where it mounts up to the engine. Then one more just down here. Next we have 2 more on the back here. These ones will be coarse thread because they'll be threading into plastic. There's one. Second one's back in this top corner. Now we can remove the engine. Take the throttle cable out. Back cover, take that off. Don't lose that. There we go. Engine's free. Now we can inspect the spark resistor screen, which should be under here, and we can take the exhaust off to inspect the cylinder. So let me take the shaft out and set the engine in there so we can inspect it. I'm going to take the spark plug out. And let's remove the exhaust. So the piston looks good. Just release it so we can check the back of the cylinder. Piston ring looks good. Let's see, does the ring move? Yeah, ring seems to move okay. Let's move it right out of the way. Get my light. Yeah, not sure how well you can see in there. But it looks to me like the back of that cylinder. Let me brighten the screen a bit. That makes a difference. There, you should be able to see back there now. Yeah, the back of that cylinder, it looks pretty good. Nice and clean. So I'm going to put a piston stop in. I'm going to rotate it back. Flip the engine. Now we'll set it this way so I can take the carburetor off and you guys can get a good view of it. Okay, so it looks like 10 mil. One more. There. There, we'll leave the gasket in place. And there we go. Carburetor's off. We'll quickly go through it, but I do have that other one. I do have a brand new one. This one right here. I have this one and it's ready to go on. So what I want to do is I want to try to put this one on, see if we can get this thing to run with this, because this one wouldn't run the other Homelite trimmer for some weird reason. So I'm worried. So I'm wondering maybe it was the carburetor that wouldn't run it. But if it'll run this, then definitely not the carburetor. So let's try that out. Just doesn't want to go on. Maybe I need a deep socket. Let me try a deep socket. Yeah, not much better. Just a really, really bad fit. There we go. Now we'll release the engine. And I'm going to get a couple fuel lines. I'm going to take them down, put them into a jar full of fuel, and we'll see if we can get this thing to run. So let's get the exhaust back on. But first, let's check the arrestor screen. Well, it's got some carbon deposits, so I'll quickly toast those off. Hey, look at that, guys. Look what I found. A red subscribe button. If you made it this far into the video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up,
Comment below. I love to read your comments, and I try to reply to as many of them as I can, especially the early ones. All right, guys, back to the video.
How dare you!
Oh, this is taking its sweet time. Yeah, it's warm. It's warm. Quite warm, but much better. Much better. And yes, I do hear what some of you are saying, and no, we're not about to do that. I'm not interested in doing that sort of thing. Not at all. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, comment below, and I'm sure someone will fill you in as to what I'm talking about, what I don't want to do, what some people I'm sure are thinking of doing. There's a reason it's there. Let's keep it a buck. There's a reason it's there, and I plan on keeping it stock. Once we get this running, then we'll take it apart again, give this a good cleaning. Okay, let me flip it around. Now we can get working on the fuel lines. Yes, the engine can still spin this way, but this way, there's a little bit more weight because of the carburetor, and so it won't spin because of the piston stop. So we'll get some fuel lines on here, and then I'll get it back on the shaft, and we'll test it out. All right, so put one. Oh, that tube's a little bit big. Let's try this tubing. Maybe it's a little bit tighter. It's a little bit tighter. Clip it down there. And then suction line will make the same length. Because don't forget, this is going to go into a fuel bottle first. That way, we can see if this engine runs. And if it does, then we'll start swapping parts with that other Homelite and get this into a much better state than it was before. Hopefully the parts are interchangeable, because I do notice some tiny differences between the two, but they don't seem super drastic. The only thing that I'm curious though, on the other Homelite, I did have this gasket removed because I wasn't sure how well it was going to be sealing because of all these holes, but I'm not really sure if this part of the gasket's really going to make that much of a difference. So I wonder if this is the problem why the other one wouldn't start with this carburetor. We'll see. I mean, maybe that's what we'll do as well. If we can get this one going before we start pulling apart the other one, we'll see if this gasket works. If putting it on that gets it to run. Might be an idea. So let's get this back in its shaft. There, we'll reattach the engine. There we go. Okay, now just to attach the engines, 4 screws. Now make sure the ignition wire isn't pinched, and it's not. It's free right here. And finally, the last one. I'm not going to worry about the throttle cable. I don't really see the need to put it on right now. We just want to see if this thing will run with this carburetor. There we go. And then we'll put on the back cover. That'll be the coarse thread. Lovely. This is so much fun. This bit's long, it's just not quite long enough. I'll mix up some 2-stroke fuel. I just need to get it in between 2 of the lines. That way it's sort of accurate for a 40-to-1. That seems relatively as close as I'm probably ever going to get it. Now to get the gasoline. Now I fill it up to 500. And there we go. That should be approximately a 40-to-1 mixture. Now we'll just shake it up. That way we know it's well mixed. Pop the fuel lines in. I'm going to move this back a bit from the edge. The purge line. That's the fuel line. And it's not drawing fuel. That's awesome. Here it comes. Now it's not returning the fuel. This is great. Not sure what I think of this. I think these fuel lines might be a little bit too big. Maybe it's not making a proper seal. So we'll try these little skinny ones. They seem like they're a little too skinny to me, but let me see. I think I might have some other fuel line. Yeah, we'll try this one. This seems a lot better already. And the return line. Oh, sorry. That's the fuel line. That's the suction. And this is the return. Seems a lot tighter now. I don't know why this carburetor just doesn't seem to be drawing fuel. Well, maybe it is. I see it coming up. There it comes. Finally. Yeah, there's something wrong with this carburetor. Definitely something wrong with this carburetor. I should not have to keep priming and priming and priming it. There's definitely something wrong with that carb. That's not right. Okay, so let's put a spark plug in. This is not the original spark plug. This is not an NGK. This is just a testing plug. Nothing special. It's a jingling. If you're curious, it's just a jingling. Let's see. Choke is on. I don't think this carburetor works. Oh, maybe it does work. There it goes. Now let's try it. Right. Just opening my garage. Choke is now off. Just going to turn the idle up just a little bit, so hopefully it won't stall out. Yeah, so there we go. Perfect. This one runs. Right. I'm going to get the other one and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to get this carburetor on. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to let it sit here with fuel, get it on the other one, but I'm going to put this insulator on. And we'll see if this gasket insulator, if that makes a difference, if that other one will start. So give me a few minutes, I'll get the other one up here. Okay, so I've got the other one ready. Let's just get these into the fuel bottle. Get the feed line in. Now the return line. And there we go. Already pumping. I put the other gasket on. So let's see if this will start now. Choke is on. The throttle is attached. We know this carburetor works. It was just running one. It's not looking good for this one. I think this one's going to be torn down, and this body's going to be used for parts, and it's going to go on to the other engine because this just isn't working. Absolutely nothing. Make sure that's all the way down. Absolutely nothing. Just won't start. All right. So let's get this fuel tank off and disconnect the carburetor that's on it. We'll run through this carb. Maybe we can get this one going. Then we'll have another spare. And if this one works, then I can save the brand new one for when I actually need it. But this one, I think it's safe to say it's toast. I really do think it's safe to say that this is good to be used strictly as a parts donor. So let's get this thing torn apart. Okay. I hope it's the same one. It looks like it. There goes the fuel tank. Since this is open, let's check the seal on this. There's the fuel tank. Yeah, the seal's in place. It's pretty tight. Don't like that though. But it seems like it's making a pretty good seal. Yeah, I'm not seeing any oil on the outside of this. Not looking good for this one. Not looking good at all. I'm going to get the carb off. There we go. Carburetor's free. Take the throttle off. Let it float here for now. Take this insulator off again. I know it's not in the best of condition, but I mean, even with this one, nothing. It did absolutely nothing. So I'm going to remove the insulator. Let's get the engine off this. There we go. Move the shaft out of the way. Let's see. Are these tight? Yeah, the head bolts are tight. All right, so I guess let's check the intake side. A little bit of vertical scoring there. Screw got stuck. got stuck to the magnet and then got stuck trying to slide it through. So let's take the jug off and have a peek. There we go. I think I found the problem. There we go. There's the problem right there. That's why this engine would never run. The head gasket's shot. Huh. So it needs a new head gasket. Nice. Well, we found the problem. Not bad. Good idea to take this one apart finally. Head gasket. Go figure. Now that it's apart. Yeah, that ring moves very free. Very nice. I can feel some of them. You can feel some of them. That's on the intake side. That's a good one there on the exhaust, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So we need a new head gasket for this, and this one should be fine after. Very interesting. So that's why it wouldn't run. It needs a new head gasket. So I'm going to set this one aside, and let's start getting this thing apart. Oh, now I need a new parts bin. Get a little baggie and start packaging all this stuff up. Alright, well, I've got a fuel tank to put onto the other one at least. This one's going to have to wait. I'll probably be able to find another one of these, but I don't know, this one, I guess it's in half decent shape. It's too bad that the head gasket's blown, because it would have been nice to have had this one as the one that was running, because it's in really good shape. Like the body and all the plastic is nice and shiny. It's not weather faded. Looks like it was better cared for than the other one, or at least a little bit newer. Anyway, let me just clean up a bit and get that carburetor ready to run through. See you shortly. All right, here we go. Let's get this bottom off. Maybe we can inspect the metering diaphragm, because I'm sure any problems that there are going to be will be back here at the metering diaphragm. Right, I'm going to grab mini yellow. Come here, mini yellow. See? Mini yellow. Okay, let's try a pick. Let's try a pry pick. This is interesting. It's cemented on. I don't want to break my pick. I don't want to lose that tip by using it as a pry. That's crazy. It's completely cemented on here. There we go. It's kind of toast. Yeah, diaphragm and gasket completely toast. Is it a big nose or... Oh, it's a big nose. That's frustrating. It's a big nose. I think I ordered some kits, or at least gaskets in, or I should say diaphragms anyway. I do have these gaskets. Wonder how that other one's doing in that rejuvenation bath. Should pull it out. Check it out. Right, I'll clean the rest of this gasket up off camera. No reason for you guys to be sitting here watching me do that. It's one garbage fuel line. There's number 2. They really got it up there. There we go. Hey, now let's get the bulb off. Bulb's not terrible, but I have some. I'll just replace this. See how the rest of this carburetor stacks up. A lot of corrosion. These flaps are good. Yeah, this seems still pretty good. It's the first time I've seen a transparent blue one. This gasket seems okay. Let's see if it'll come off. Yeah, that came off nice and easy. Still in really good shape. Let's take this out so we can clean it up. Lots of corrosion on it. And then, oh no, this part broke. Darn, that's so unfortunate. It really actually is unfortunate that that part broke.
No. Anyway.
Oh well, since that part broke, you might as well screw this in all the way to see how many turns out it is. Half. 1. 1.5. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.25. So 3.25. Can't believe that part broke. So unfortunate. Now let's get the needle out. Now be careful because there is a spring under there. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. There, I got it. Rocker arm and pin. There's the spring. There's the needle. Tip seems okay. Lots of debris in that screen. Lots and lots of debris. We'll try one of those rejuvenated diaphragms on this. Let's get this in the ultrasonic cleaner. And hopefully it can get all that cleaned out. Leave the spring here. There's no reason to clean that. Looks fine. I don't think there's anything on it. Let's see. Let's inspect it. Let's see a little bit of something. Okay, let's put it in the jar. There we go. Now I'll just top it off with a cleaner. Mineral spirits. All right, 10 minutes in the ultrasonic. I'll see you soon. Okay, let's reassemble this carburetor. I gave it a spray off afterwards, and it looks pretty good. Screen looks good. The rejuvenated diaphragm. It's got a little bit of a wrinkle in it. We'll try it. If I have to pull it apart, I'll pull it apart. But all it needs to do is just start and run it, just so we know everything's good with this carburetor. Actually, you know what? I don't really like how wrinkly that is. I have another one, I think, in there. Let's see how this one is. This one's a lot better. This one's a lot better. Yeah, there's no wrinkles. So throw that one back in there. And this one is the one we'll use. And it is a long nose. That's why I've got them in the rejuvenator. Because I didn't have any long nose ones at the time. I do have some brand new ones. If this one doesn't work, then I'll switch to a new one, obviously. New primer bulb. So let's rebuild the carburetor. So put the needle in. Following a recent suggestion, I'm going to try putting a small dab of oil here to try to hold the spring in place, to try to make it a little bit easier to put it on. We'll see if this works. Well, you know what? I don't know if it worked, but for me, I didn't have any issues getting that to settle down at all. I just don't think I've got the pin in there. Didn't notice there was no pin. That's kind of funny. There we go. The pin's back in. There we go. That worked out okay. Put a little bit of two-stroke oil. It actually seemed to have kept that spring in place pretty well. It's looking good. So let's give this a quick test. Take a tiny bit of two-stroke fuel. Oh, maybe a little bit more than just a tiny bit. Came out faster than I was expecting. Let's see if it'll pass through. Yep, pass through, no problem. Good stuff. Right, so now we'll put the gasket. Had to slightly modify it as I didn't have an exact match. Now the diaphragm and the base plate. Now it's the 4 small screws. Come on, magnet screwdriver, stop being a problem. Not going to tighten them down. Just going to put them on just to hold everything in place. All right, I have to use my hands and drop that one. Right, now the needle valve. So we're going to screw it all the way in and then back it out 3 1/4 turns. Although that seems a little crazy considering how rich it was running. Okay. That's half. 1. Half. 2. Half. 3 1/4. Okay, that's set. Now let's rebuild the top. I put the screws in because I'm a little clumsy. Just in case I dropped it, I didn't want it to all fall apart. I'm pretty sure I built it properly this time. I'm almost 100% positive I did it properly this time. So we'll get this spring on, or the idle set screw on. You can always set it while it's running. Right, let's get this back on the engine. Okay, so let's change the fuel tank. Hopefully the other one fits. Oops, dropped the rubber. That one can stay on there. Put that one back on. This one. There we go. Now we'll take it down. Now we'll get the carburetor attached and the fuel lines attached. That insulating gasket's in place. Get the throttle on, or the throttle cable anyway. Carburetor on. This is the fuel line. This is the purge line. Air cleaner box. Come on, choke lever. Cooperate. Let me just quickly attach this throttle cable at the front. Or I should say the support for the throttle cable. It's going to thread on the 10mm nuts by hand. There we go, finally. Quickly zip those down. That's it. I guess we're ready for a quick test. Pour in some 2-stroke. Not too much. End up making a mess if I put in too much like I did.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
Oopsies. Okay, it was only a little bit that dribbled out.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
Let's prime it up, see if it works. I don't know if it's working. I don't see why it's not pumping. I can feel it pushing the air out, but I don't feel it actually drawing fuel. All right, so I guess we'll get the brand new carburetor on. All right, let's try that in a sec. I'll quickly switch to that. Right, so we're back to the original carburetor, not the new one. I put the original one back on because I had the lines crossed. So let's try this again. Yeah, so seems to be working just fine now. This is amazing what happens when you put the lines in the right spot. Okay, so let's try to kick it over and see if she starts. Just opening the garage. Here we go. Choke is on. All right, half choke. Choke is off. Right. Let me spin in the idle a bit. There. Try that again. I think we got this one running, guys. I do believe we got this one running, guys. I do like that. Right, so let's kill it. Let's kill it. There, okay. Didn't want to die. There. I just noticed that I did one thing wrong. I forgot to hook up the throttle cable. I was wondering why the throttle lever was pulled up. And yeah. So I'm just going to quickly fix that. I'll be right back. All right, just moved it over a bit so the throttle cable can disappear up inside the engine. That is awesome. Oh, that was nice. Thank you, throttle cable, for disappearing up there. Oh, okay, let me pull apart the handle. Well, that's a problem. That one's actually broken. Well, I'll take it off the other Homelite. The sad part is, the other Homelite, it's also got a broken handle. But at least it'll hold the cable. There, let's try this again. This time with feeling. Okay, so choke is off. See if she'll start with the choke off. Yep, no problem. All right, not bad. Not bad at all. There we go, guys. Another one fixed. I'm just going to drain out the fuel and then run some two-stroke oil all the way through the carburetor and the fuel lines just to have this ready for winter. And then expect to see this one out in spring when I get it up for sale. I know I was originally saying that I was going to change the front fascia and all that, put the brighter red on here, but I don't think I'm going to quite do that. But all right, guys, I guess in the spring, I'll give this a clean up. Maybe I'll try to hit the heat gun on this to shine it up. We'll try that. And, right, I got to put an air filter on this thing. Air filter. Air filter cover. All right, there we go. Okay then, it's complete. Got the air filter cover, air filter in it. Let's change that. Let's get that spark plug out. We don't want the jingling in there. That's a testing plug. Goodbye jingling. Hello NGK. Let's get that NGK back in there, because we haven't seen if it'll actually run the engine yet. All right then, let's see. Will the NGK run this engine? Yes, the NGK will run this engine. This is the jingling. I think it did all right. Looks like it's running pretty good for that short little time that it ran. All right, guys. See you in the next one. So the reason why I want to keep this isn't so much because I like this older design for the front and all that. No. On this one, crank cover is metal. On the other one, it's plastic. Much prefer this. Less chance of deformation. It's not bad, eh, guys? Got this one done, and we found out what was going on with that other Homelite. Found out the head gasket's shot. Fantastic. Well, those parts came in useful. New fuel tank on here, considering the other one was shot. And this is ready to go. All right, guys. Spark plug off for safety.